Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day. Good morning, traders and investors. Welcome to this Monday, November 7th edition of Benzinga's PreMarket Prep, brought to you by Thinkorswim and TD Ameritrade. I'm Spencer Israel, here with Joel Elconin and Dennis Dick. Got a good show for you today. Our guest is Chris Versace. He is the PM of the Thematic Growth Portfolio. We've got a couple earnings still trickling in through earnings season, but we're going to spend a lot of today and tomorrow and probably Wednesday on the macro talk. There is a little election tomorrow, so we'll get to that and the rally in the market this morning. Joel, how are we doing the S&Ps this morning?
Holy mackerel, we're trading up 28 handles at 21.08. The market looked like it was dead on the close on Friday, and a little news out of the FBI regarding emails. Here we are. We're trading up 28 handles, a huge move. Just two numbers, the pre-market high and the pre-market low. If we continue through 21.12, we're just going to keep going. Man, but you got to think some people are looking to gift horse in the mouth here, being up 28 points if you sat through the last 9 days of declines. Crude getting a bounce too, up 55 cents here. Big losing streak in crude. See if it can end that. Trying to get over $45, $44.99 the high. And gold and silver, everything's fine now. Don't worry, folks. Getting rid of the gold and silver here. Gold back now under 1,300, down 1,650, as well as silver. So let's bring in Dennis here. And Dennis, what a morning.
Yeah, wow, this is incredible here. You look over the weekend, I don't think anybody expected, the S&Ps to be up, 200 or looking at, 27 handles on the S&P or 250 Dow points, whatever you want to look at. Just incredible here, rally. Obviously, this is all off of what the FBI said, so we might as well go to you, Spencer. Tell us exactly what was said here to drive these S&P points up 27.
So 9 days after this latest mess started, right? People were thinking, oh man, this is going to take, there's no way they're going to finish this before election day. This is going to take months to review. Nope. 9 days later, FBI letter to Congress over the weekend. They will not be charging Hillary based on any of the new emails. Actually, most of those emails were apparently duplicates of ones that had already been examined, so there wasn't a whole lot of new material apparently. But yeah, no new charges for Clinton 9 days after this started, 2 days before the election, and this whole thing is just a mess. And can it be Wednesday? Is all I want to know.
So, can it be Wednesday? So does this change the Trump voter? I don't think so. I think the person who's voting for Trump is voting for Trump no matter what. The question is, does this swing the people who are undecided to Hillary so that she's going to get in? What are your thoughts here?
Man, oh man.
I think I'm in your camp. I think everyone has pretty much made up their mind at this point.
So I don't know if this really changes that much is really what I'm arguing here. So here we are, we're up 27 handles. Everybody thinks, okay, Hillary's getting in for sure now. I'm not sure I would say for sure. I think she was always been the favorite. I think it's always just been the wild card. And I've said it before. I think, if Trump gets in, I think the Dow's going to fall 1,000 points. I think if Hillary gets in, it's going to rally about 300. So, that's where I'm getting like a 3-1, maybe. And I don't know what the odds are, over on any of the Vegas, that's taking bets on the election here. But the last time I had heard that Hillary was still upwards of 80%. Do we have an update on that anywhere this morning?
It's in 80s. New York Times says 84. It's in that range.
Yeah,
okay.
Just on my Twitter feed here, I follow Professor Justin Wolfers, a political economist at Michigan, and he follows things real closely. And what he's looking at in the final national polls here, of course, the media, one's saying the media has it rigged anyways, but NBC, Wall Street Journal, ABC, the Herald, Bloomberg, they have Clinton in the lead anywhere from 3 to 6 percentage points. So take it what you want. It's going to be...
It's close. It's going to be pretty close. And that is still a scary thought here. So if you're a portfolio manager, and all we're doing is playing scenario analysis here for you. If you're a portfolio manager and you're sitting, you've been kind of nervous, that, okay, well, what if Trump wins, and even FLAK was asking us, what if, what are we doing ahead of the election? We're rebalancing our portfolios. And we're going to talk about this later in the show. But if you're just a portfolio manager here and you were nervous about going into this election, is this not the best selling opportunity that you could get? I mean, up 27 handles, you're going to have multiple stocks hitting 52-week highs. A lot of the banks, financials are right near 52-week highs here this morning. I mean, if I was nervous, I'm not saying I am, and I don't know if I'm going to rebalance my portfolio ahead of the election or not. I haven't really decided. But if you were really wanting to get some stock and take some money off the table, man, this is a huge opportunity for you this morning.
That's what I was thinking last night. When I immediately got the news, saw the open, and I figured, I figured we might even be red in the morning, the way this market turns around. But it's held the overnight gains here, Dennis. So I don't know. I don't know if it's, well, I'll tell you right now, portfolio managers are making big moves on these kind of things, then I don't want them managing my portfolio. I mean, basically, you have to be making much longer term decisions. That something comes out. Of course, the markets are closed. The futures, the overseas markets. I mean, the timing of all this is very peculiar.
Yeah. So here we are. We're up 250 points, or we're up 27 handles on the S&P. So all I'm saying is, if I wanted to take chips off the table, and I don't know if I do, I'd be taking those chips off the table. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see some selling pressure eventually come in here, because this kind of looks like one of those rallies that a lot of people might be itchy to sell, especially if you're nervous about tomorrow night. So you only got two more sessions, huge rally here. I'd be taking some money off the table. So I'm definitely not chasing this rally, not from my own perspective, and I might actually try to short it just ahead of the election. I don't know what I want to do going into the election, though, from a trading standpoint. I'm probably going to be flat just because of the unknown factor. Just a couple people in the chat, we're all talking, obviously. Clinton Stock Jock was asking, can we go over a couple trades for Clinton victory? I mean, a Clinton victory, I think, is pretty simple. I think the market's going to rally. I think it's going to rally, to the tune of maybe, I don't think it's going to be this, 1,000-point Dow rally like I think it would be if Trump, the other way, if Trump wins, I think the Dow's going to fall 1,000, like I said. So I think it's just now everything's going to be fairly strong. I mean, the one, sector that, may not be as strong is the biotech, because we know Clinton's been going to, or at least talking about price caps there. That's weighed on the drugs for the entire last 6 months. And she gets official in there. Maybe, there's a little bit of a pressure in those stocks. But other than that, I think everything rallies if Clinton gets in.
And they're trading up this morning here, but I mean, they're trading up considering how they've just been pounded. So it's not really a big deal, but made a nice double bottom in the IBB here on Thursday and Friday. So, if you're hopping in here and you want to risk 9 points, you really got to look at that double bottom from Thursday and Friday, right at the 247 area. And it's funny, Linda's mentioning coal here. I noticed I was just breezing over Barron's this weekend. The coal stocks, it's KOL, right? And so here's a sector that...
There's a lot of different ETFs that track it, but
coal,
yeah, that's...
there it is. This one's looking for a Trump victory here. This is what this index is telling you. They thought he'd be very favorable to the coal sector and as opposed to the renewable energy. So
Trump's all about money and saving money, and I think the renewables is a great point you're making there too. That's definitely a sector that's probably going to rally off of Hillary there. If Trump gets in, I think he's all about saving money, and he said before, remember, and there was a tweet that was deleted, but 3 or 4 years ago, he thought global warming, was something that was made up. He actually tweeted that out 3 years ago. So we know what he thinks, he's not going to focus on environment. He's going to focus on, money here. And that's, going to be coal's cheap fuel. So I agree, that's something that maybe, Trump does better, coal. You start thinking renewable, or you start thinking, even solar and stuff like that. I think that probably gets hit. It gets hit if Trump gets in. I mean, everything's going to get hit if Trump gets in, but that might even get hit harder.
Do you want to tell your Trump game story now?
Oh, so my wife, not a Trump supporter, and you were saying, you say, Lisa, I think a lot of women aren't Trump supporters. Anyways, like a year and a half ago, my wife was in, it's a discount store here in Canada. It's like Value Village. It's, kind of like a garage sale store almost. And there was a Trump game in there, and she's like, she texts me because she says this Trump game. It was just a funny title, and I can tell you the title of it. It's from like 1988. It's called Trump the Game. And the slogan on the game itself, it says, "It's not whether you win or lose, but whether you win," Is that not the craziest slogan you've ever seen on a game? Anyway, so it's like basically a Trump monopoly, and there's like $1 million bills. So it's all $1 million bills. So it's the $1 million bill, $2 million bill, $5 million bill, $50 million bills. It's Trump monopoly is what it is. Anyways, it was like stealing the package for $3. I was like, buy that because if he actually gets to be president, that might be worth some money that game. And I've been watching it on eBay, and the game's going for like $50, $100 here now. And I was like, maybe I should sell this
I
game
was just
before
going
he
to
actually
say that.
loses.
Sell it before the election.
Sell at the high. Oh yeah.
I should sell.
Yeah.
I should sell the Trump the game here. Anybody want to buy it? I'll sell it right now for $100, $80. It's gone. So anyways, I should throw it out there on eBay and get rid of it. But so my closet, insider here is I want Trump to win so my game goes up in value. But that's not true though. I've been a Hillary support. Well, I don't know if I don't really like either candidate. I've kind of said that, but I am scared if Trump gets in. I don't really know what's going to happen in the markets. I don't know what's going to happen in my portfolio. I don't think he's getting in though, but Trump the game, you gotta love that. Here, I'll put it in the chat here so you can actually see the game itself. He looks really young in this game. It's from the 80s, and yeah, it's not whether you win or lose, but whether you win. Craziest slogan.
Spencer made an interesting comment on the way to the game on Saturday, and he talked about a cartoon. I think it was in the New York Post.
It was the New Yorker. You want to get into this? And New Yorker is.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty funny.
A little bit. I feel like it's a little bit dark for the
about
show. No, it was a political cartoon. It was a little bit dark, maybe for this show. Political cartoon, with a person waiting in line to vote, and the curtain in the booth is closed, and you can see underneath the curtain inside the booth, and there were just dangling feet because the person had yeah.
Little dark.
Little dark, Joel.
Sorry I brought that up.
Thanks for bringing that up.
So Trump, I don't know what to say, but obviously, we're just going back to original question. I think the market rallies big time. I think the market rallies if Clinton gets in. I think it gets killed if Trump gets in. But if you're looking at that 80%, then you would think, from a gambling standpoint, you'd want to see a 4 times more selling pressure. So basically, 1,000-point sell-off for Trump would be 250 points up for Clinton if you're going by the Vegas odds.
All right.
If that makes any sense.
Are we going to cover some stocks? Let's get to 8:13
I don't know if
here.
we're going to cover any stocks.
Let's cover some stocks here. There's some news. There's some stocks moving. Let's
talk about NetSuite because this is ridiculous. So anyways, if you're buying NetSuite on Friday, congratulations here. Everybody's thinking the deal is going to fall apart. Nope, the deal looks like it's going to go through here. Oracle is going to complete the tender offer, it appears here or is it today? Anyway, so it looks like the deal is going to go through. It looks like the shares have been tendered. NetSuite, which it looked like the deal was in jeopardy for the last 2 weeks. Deal not in jeopardy. Stock is right back up to where it was at $109. That is the takeout price here. So it does look like Oracle NetSuite deal is going to go through. I guess you got to buy those pullbacks sometimes. Like if they think about this logically here, and I guess we should have stopped and thought about it, maybe would have bought it. But who's not tendering their shares when the thing's at 90 and you offer me $109? I think you'd be crazy not to tender when the thing's at 90. So here we are. It's back at 109 here, up 21% this morning. So NetSuite shareholders very happy here this morning.
Well, the problem is there was a big shareholder. I don't know who it was that wanted 130. They wanted 130. They thought that was a fair takeout price, and I guess when you're at 110 and you want 130 and then it goes to 90, 110 doesn't look so bad. So didn't personally play this one at all with the certainty, but if you did, it did pull back. Really 85 was the area it was before these rumors started. 90 was good enough. So, but this would be one that if I did have it and you make it to the open on this one in an hour and 15 minutes. Why not ring to register? Who knows what can happen in the next,
Well, it's 109 as the takeout price is trading at 109. So I'd definitely ring the register here now. So we'll have to see if that but it looks like the deal's going through. So your risk arbs come in. It looks like it's a done deal now. So it's not going to be like going back down to 104, 105, 106. Maybe it comes down 50 cents on people who are just booking the profits early here. But for the most part, it looks like this deal's done.
All right, and Oracle really been bunching up at this. Nice looking chart here if you're an Oracle trader. 2 dips under 37, now 38 is the support level. And boy, you got a bunch of tops in the same area here. So let's take a look at Oracle, where it's trading up 23 cents. And man, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 highs at the 38.50 area. So keep an eye on that if you're looking for a breakout in Oracle to the upside.
So they are the acquirer here. The one thing is, some people thought that they were going to have to pay up to 125, 130. They get their stock for 109. Is that good? Is that bad? Here we are. We're trading up this morning here. Only a few hundred shares, 512 shares have only traded here. So be interesting to see, the opening print and see if they start to hit it a little bit, just because obviously the deal is official now and they're going to be paying a little bit of a premium here for NetSuite, but not as much as as some people thought they might have to pay. So it's maybe not your classic sell the acquirer, because I think a lot of people thought they were going to have to pay a lot more.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, well, no, that's why it got down to 90 because they were going to pay a lot more. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's been hit pretty hard. I still like the way the chart looks. Holding 38.50, I like it to the upside.
Let's talk Twitter here. Twitter actually did break out over 18 on Friday. There are a lot of stocks were weak. Twitter was not one of them. Closed up and got up to 1834. I mean, this stock is just bunching up here waiting for a rumor. It's waiting. Everybody's sitting here. There's going to be another rumor, because it seems to be a rumor every couple of weeks on Twitter. And I think the shorts are probably saying, I'm out here at 18 because obviously, there's a rumor I'm going to get hit, and there's people speculating here. So I'm torn. I'm not in Twitter. I have no position. Part of me wants to buy here. It looks pretty good on the charts. I mean, as long as it holds 17, you could say, which was, the lows. You had multiple lows there, 1707, 1717, just a week and a half ago there. I'd say as long as you're above that, it does look like it's starting to form some type of a bottom here. The question is, is the rumors, is people just buying, speculating, or do they actually think this company is turning around? I think it's more just speculative buying, that people think it's going to get another bid, or at least a rumor of a bid.
For disclosure, if you see some of the open interest in the January calls, that might be me out there.
That's you.
Yeah, I'm just not messing around. I did mess around on the 18s on Friday a little bit.
You can't get away from
I
those
can't get
weeklies.
away,
It's like
but only.
crack. You can't get away from them.
The 18s traded down to 2 cents on Friday off the open. I didn't catch them till 10, but at one point on the day, they were
They were at 2 cents.
yeah, they were at 2 cents. I couldn't get them at 2 cents. I was bidding a penny, but because it opened at 17.50. But
Yeah, so it would have went to 1834, so you could actually, make quite a bit of money if you were getting up there at 1834.
you're right. But
There's some money on the Friday. You know what? That's the one day on the weeklies, and I've played it in the past too. And we should just talk about that for a second. Is when you want to talk super lottery tickets, you get a few hours to go in the day. Those things are trading just off intrinsic value, and there's no time premium really left there. So you get all of a sudden a big move in the last hour of the day. You can make some money on those weeklies on individual stocks. There is, I don't like buying them 3, 4, 5 days out, but right a couple hours, if you find the right stock and you feel like, okay, I think this might actually make a move here in the last hour of the day, the weeklies are a play. And not only that, something else to consider here is that everybody thinks, Friday 4 o'clock it's over. Well, your weeklies don't expire technically until Saturday, so you can exercise those depending on your broker, because you have to put in your notice. But if something happens after hours on Friday, you can still exercise those calls or the puts. Remember, so a lot of times your retail brokers want you to send in that notice by like 4:30 or 5 o'clock. So talk to your broker, find out how late you can exercise it, because that is broker to broker. But for the most part, there, if you're a guy on the floor, you can obviously take part in the after hours action a little bit on Friday as well by having those weekly calls or puts.
and also, just kind of on the flip side of that, Dennis, a lot of times on the open, there's some good opportunities. I mean, if you have an opinion in the stock in a direction, a lot of times you can, this thing, Twitter opened up at what, 1750 on Friday. The low, we talk about the opening prints and stuff, opened at 1752. The low was 1750. So there, to me, it's like getting in early, getting in cheap, because later in the day, you get more. Actually, what ended up happening is that those 18s had a lot of value, but by the end of the day, they squeezed everybody. And if I would have held on to them all day, they went back down to 2 cents. So sometimes, if you want to get them under a nickel or something like that, you got to do it early in the day before, while the stock's just opening, before it makes a major move.
Let's jump into a few earnings reports here. We did get a couple this morning. MGM reported. We'd already heard from Wynn. We'd already heard from Las Vegas Sands. Now we hear from MGM here. Stock is trading higher here. Spencer, how'd MGM do?
Q3 GAAP EPS 93 cents, including a 60-cent share gain, 20-cent share charge. Sales of $1.9 billion. Revenue $2.5 billion, and that's pretty much all I'm seeing.
Joel, how are the technicals looking on this
Oh
one?
man, this is a stock I always look at. It's always at $25, so I'm looking for it to go back to. No, you got to pop here. You had resistance at 27. You've cleared that pre-market high, 27.90. I mean, if you're looking for some follow through, you want that opening print, 27.50, and then 26.60, 70, 80, 90. Just keep on going. This is a big move here on the dailies. We haven't been up. I can see if I can find something on the weeklies. I'm still looking right here in this area. 27.64. If you've been holding on to this stock since July of 2014, you're even. That was the high back then. So to me, opening up a little bit too high for my taste.
Cognizant CTSH is trading up 3% here in the pre-market. They also reported earnings here this morning. And Spencer, how did they do?
Spencer.
Q3 EPS 86 cents. That's a 2-cent beat. Revenues of 3.45 billion. That is exactly in line with the estimate as far as guidance. See, fiscal year 2016 EPS $3.36 or $3.38 to $3.41. That is at the high end of the estimate. Revenue 13.47 to 13.53 billion. That's a little lower than the revenue estimate.
There's a gap here in the chart, Joel.
Gap into a gap. You know how I love that. I'll just give you your pre-market high of 54.15. Nothing but air in here until to fill the gap just under $55 at 54.99. So pretty gappy area up here if you want to try and hold on for another buck 15. The high on that day was closer to 56. So really hard to find some resistance here in this one, as we also are just hanging up here near the high of this session in order to fill the gap from yesterday. 52.98, so that's only a buck away here. So maybe 53 to 55 might be your range today in CTSH. Remember this one, Dennis, back when we were doing the show on premarketinfo.com. This one, it had like 13 or 14 down days in a row. I don't know if I can find.
Cognizant?
Yeah, it was around the same time that ExxonMobil did that. I wish I
Yeah.
could find it.
ExxonMobil had like 19 out of 20 days back then. It was like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. 19 out of 20 down days in a row. And then it turned around and had like 18 out of 20 up days in a row. Trendy market back then.
All right.
Still, it's a little more choppy than it was.
All right. Any more earnings?
There's a few, but nobody really big. So let's go over to some of these ratings changes here because there is some interesting ones there. Biogen is catching an upgrade here at Piper. We've been talking a little bit, obviously, about the biotechs being weak here ahead of the election. I mean, everything had been. Now you get a sharp rally here. This morning in BIIB, it had a little bit of a reversal on Friday. And I was just talking this, on Friday, and a lot of the biotechs really did, rally hard. When we look just even at the IBB, it was a big turnaround day for it. You said it turned. We talked briefly right at the top of the show how it put in a double bottom and bounced off. But you look at some of these individual stocks, and I had a few good trades on that week open on Friday. I did get a few biotechs there right at the open. Gilead was one that I got, and these were just for day trades there. And obviously, they had a really strong day, and I think that was one of your strongest sectors there. So it was definitely some people jumping into the biotechs with two hands there on Friday, and Biogen was one of them. It really turned around, opened at the lows on Friday down near the 268 area, rallied 10 points. Now we're getting another 10-point rally here in Biogen. I mean, major, super duper resistance up at 300. That's still 10 points away here. But what are your thoughts here when you look at the technicals on IIB?
Yeah, there's just air here between just under 270 and 300. I just will notice there's one stopping point you may want to take a look at, 290.47. That was your high on the 28th, but boy, you could see on the dailies between 290 and 300, not much there. Maybe I'll have to dial up my buddy there at Piper, see if I can talk with the biotech. Yeah, this guy's really good, and my buddy Opie speaks very highly of him. So we'll see. A big move here. Didn't quite get to fill the gap down to 260, but air up to 300 in BIIB.
GoPro, I want to talk about it because I did not see this thing bouncing as much as it did. It was down in the $9 area in the pre-market on Friday, and I was like, I don't know. If we take Fitbit's lead, it's not going to bounce at all, or at least not much. And I was wrong on this one. Holy cow. Thing opened up near the lows and then rallied all the way to $12 $1.50. That was an incredible rally off a very disappointing report. Did close down 11.16. We got at Bank America. It looks like they are downgrading here to underperform here on GoPro. Doesn't matter here because the overall market's up, and these late downgrades often don't move the stocks just because obviously the earnings is what moved the stock. But man, that was a wild trading range on Friday for this stock, coming all the way up and actually going green a little bit after that report. Did close in the red here. But what are your thoughts on GoPro? I mean, we did see some buy the dippers come into this stock. Is it value investors? What is it? You think coming in here and rallying that stock almost over 20% from the lows?
I think what happened is you were trading down, it spiked down to 9 in the pre-market, and then you just kind of crept up and you opened right at $10. So I think the shorts and maybe people that wanted to get long were thinking, wow, this thing could easily trade back down in the $9 handle, lower nines, and opened at 10, printed 990, and off to the races.
Really
Yeah,
was.
I think that people just got caught up in it, so I am not going to get caught up in this. I mean, there was pretty bad numbers, and I mean, it gets back down to that $10 area maybe, but I just think you just had a huge short just deer in headlights. People are like, oh, I'm going to buy this at 920, and then all of a sudden they're looking at 1120. Double top at the 1250 area. Also, just resistance all over the place.
Bobby Bin and FLK from the UK is talking about Whole Foods here, and yeah, they were crazy there on Friday. They are trading up a little bit here in the pre-market today at $29. But if you look at this thing, actually Thursday, so Wednesday night they report earnings, gets a pretty good spike there on Thursday trading, but then gives it all back. Not only that, on Friday gets all the way down to that craziest support level. That's the biggest support level I think I've ever seen in a stock is $28 because you go out and you just look at the monthly chart, and this is we've talked about this multiple times. It got down here in January, February. It got back down here in May. And then for the last 3-4 months, 28 has just been solid, like a crazy support level. Bounces off there, and then there's rumors that there might be going to look to Bloomberg reports that they're looking to sell themselves, and it pops big time again and goes almost back up to 30, settles back down 28.93. Nothing has materialized here this morning. It's trading up a little bit with the overall market here, but holy cow, I mean, that 28 level is absolutely huge. This thing ever starts print 27, it could be scary from the long side.
Colt's log back here in the chat room. We haven't seen you in a while, Colt. Hello. Let us know what you're looking at today. Once again, $28 level, huge here. Dennis, you really said all you need to say about that stock. We are not seeing any further rumors here, at least today. Let me check my trusty Benzinga Pro. I mean, it's not probably a great idea to be short the thing with these kind of things.
Always scary, yeah.
Yep, $30 is your major resistance level. I don't think shorts are going to start to worry too much until you can clear 30.
Waste Management, which just has been an analyst battle here. We had a downgrade, or we had an upgrade, and then we had Goldman downgrade it. Now this morning we are getting Barclays upgrading it. So it seems like this thing just keeps getting a yo-yo ride here, just from analyst action here. So this morning WM is trading up about it's up about 1% here in the pre-market. Just ticked some shares up at 64.02, offered up at 64.99. But man, it's been just a wild ride here for Waste Management as the analysts keep going one way and then the other, and now we're going back up here from Barclays on Waste Management, WM.
What's the yield on that, Dennis?
2.57.
And it used to be
2.5.
It used to be WMX, right? Or am I thinking?
Oh, WM. I thought it was WMC years ago. You're going way back.
Way back.
It's been WM forever, but I thought it used to be WMI.
Oh,
Was it WMI?
Yep,
Waste
okay.
Management Inc. And
Yeah.
then they lost the I.
Okay.
So I don't know if somebody else, that maybe somebody else had the WM ticker symbol and they jumped all over it. But it's been WM for a lot of years here now. I've had Waste Management investment portfolio here for a decade. So, and it's actually been one of my better stocks. So I can't remember when I bought this. It was probably like 2005, 2006. It was even before the financial crisis, I think. So I've had it for a long, long time. I look at it here, and part of me thinks, I should ring the register because it's been a pretty incredible move for the last 4 years. Then when I bought it, the thing was yielding 4%. It's only yielding 2.5 here now. Part of me wants to sell it, and then I have sold part of the position, and part of me is just like, I've sold enough that I'm playing with the house's money on it, and I might just leave it.
Well, are people going to stop having trash? Is what I'm going
to ask.
That's
just dead. I mean, this is a problem, for the future. You're going to have to obviously, deal with all the waste, and Waste Management's, in a good position to deal with it.
And what was the other stock that they took the WM from?
Do you know? Washington Mutual.
Yeah,
I'm right.
yep, you are right on that
Washington
one.
Mutual went off the board, and Waste Management said, "Thank you very much. We're dropping the I, and we're grabbing your ticker symbol." So they were a beneficiary of the financial crisis
Exactly. I was
because
just
they got that ticker symbol from Washington Mutual.
one of the many casualties of the financial crisis. This one here, don't have it, but trash is trash, and people are going to keep using it. A little bit high here. Maybe if it came down to the lower 60 area. But is that an all time high there at 70.50? I
I think
mean,
it is.
yeah, it is. Yeah, nice looking chart there. So, all right, we got about 4 minutes before we need to take a break to bring on our first guest, and he's a good one. It's Chris Versace of the portfolio manager of the thematic growth portfolio, and we'll continue more election talk with him just in a few minutes. But Dennis, we have one of your favorite stocks to trade with earnings after the bell, Priceline.
PCLN here, and it's definitely not one of my favorite stocks to trade when it's a $1,400 stock. We know Nick Shaheen likes to trade options on it there, but it's up 21 points here this morning in the pre-market there. 1424 is where we close. We're trading up near 1442 here. This thing's always a wild child. You often moves 70, 80 points off an earnings report here. So I'm hands off. I'm not even trying to make a call. I will say, there's major resistance up near the 1500 area if it really blows it away. And if it, obviously disappoints there, starts cutting through 1400, there's a gap in the chart back from August.
And just going in any report here, and if they haven't done it now, they probably won't do it. But imagine if they come out with like a 20-for-1 stock split or something like that. Then this thing's just
I
gonna.
don't know. It's kind of the cool thing to do now, not split your stock. Warren Buffett started it way back in the day, and every company's always been splitting their stock. But now you see, well, Google did the two for the ridiculous split where they split off with the two companies. But it just seems like it's a cool thing to do to have the really high priced stock, and they're not splitting them as much as they used to. So I
Hey,
don't think they're doing that.
how about imbalances?
We have some interesting ones here. 8:30 imbalances came out 2 minutes ago. The one standing out to me this morning is Alibaba. 365,000 to buy in Alibaba. That is significant. And not only is it significant from that standpoint, it's significant because the area it is bouncing to is the big psychological $100 level. We're trading right now at $99.89. So interesting that we're bouncing right up to that $100 area. So sometimes you find some sellers there as stocks go back into the triple digits if they've cut through them in the past.
And $100 is holding up here in pre-market trading as well. Right on the nose, $100 even, I believe, is your pre-market high. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. If you get above there, things really open up to 104. That was one bad day there that it had on earnings. And Dennis, you called it correctly that day. And when it was trading up, you said, I wouldn't be surprised to see this red on the day. All the pre-market prep traders got out there, started hitting it in the 104s, 103s, 100s, 99s, 98s, and now it's a little bit of a recovery. Do have a great, I'll give you a great support area here. Just call it $97 there. Three lows in a row right there at the $97 area.
And obviously, Matt and Chaz was talking Yahoo's going to be up then too. And like I've said on the show here in the past, Yahoo is pretty much, especially once they get rid of their legacy businesses to Verizon, it's pretty much just an Alibaba tracking stock. So as Alibaba goes, Yahoo goes, and Yahoo is trading up 1.7% here in the pre-market, following the Alibaba lead. Just other imbalances, financials looking strong here this morning. They're all trading up significantly, not surprising. Even the European financials, Deutsche Bank's up 5% this morning. So I think it's going to be one of your leaders. JP Morgan is trading up over $1, has 104,000 shares to buy. One thing I will say is some of these financials are approaching major technical resistance levels multiple times. We got into the upper 69s and failed on JP Morgan. I think if it gets up there again, I think it finds more sellers in the upper 69s, probably some big size perched up there at 70. Also Morgan Stanley, 57,000 shares to buy here this morning. Major resistance up at 34. It's halfway there up at 33, 38. So you get the upper 33s. I think you find maybe a nice shorting opportunity for Morgan Stanley, at least in the short term. Also looking Bank America, 195,000 shares to buy. Again, there's some major technical resistance up at 17. So some not bad setups here if the rally continues a little bit further for some of these financials to maybe short up near those resistance points again.
Yeah, the Morgan Stanley one, $34. Look at that. One, two, three, four,
Huge.
five. Yeah, institutional there selling at the point. 8:35. We're gonna take our first break and grab Chris Versace, portfolio manager of the thematic growth portfolio. We'll be right back.
Whether you're a short-term swing trader or a long-term investor, you need to check out Thinkorswim, brought to you by TD Ameritrade. There's a reason why Thinkorswim has been named the #1 trading platform, because it has it all. With Thinkorswim, you can trade stocks, options, futures, forex, and virtually every other type of order. Get notifications on mobile devices and interact with other traders in chat rooms. You can also use technical indicators and see the latest investing and trading education in Think Money magazine. If you want to keep up with the markets, you need Thinkorswim. To experience everything Thinkorswim has to offer, open a TD Ameritrade account today. Thinkorswim, the online trading platform for traders and investors. TD Ameritrade, member SIPC. All investing involves risks.
Welcome back, traders and investors, to Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. I'm your co-host, Joel Elcon, along with Dennis Dick and Spencer Israel. Chris Versace on the line, manager of the Thematic Growth Portfolio. Chris, how you doing on this crazy Monday?
I got to be honest with you, Joel. I kind of feel like digging a hole and crawling in and pulling, a whole bunch of rocks on top of me, because I can't take the negativity, the hate, and the lack of discord that's been going on this election season. But it's almost over, and I think as if I put my investor hat on, I think the news we got over the weekend is obviously going to pop the market this morning. Futures are looking up pretty good as we get maybe a little certainty and a little less fear over what may happen come tomorrow.
Do you think this changes it? Is this a game changer here now? Like, is this going to swing it that Hillary is probably getting in? Or, like I was arguing a little bit earlier, I think the Trump supporter still probably supports Trump. It's a matter of whether the person that's undecided now moves over to Hillary. What are your thoughts here on this, Chris?
Well, look, a lot of people last week were like, "Oh my God, she's a crook. I can't trust her," which is what people have been saying for a long time. but let's be honest, Dennis, right? We know the Clintons are career politicians, so we know there's going to be some self-dealing going on. Let's not kid ourselves. These people are not saints. If they were, they wouldn't be doing this job. But as we say in the investment community, perception is reality, right? So. After the news broke, the betting odds of a Clinton presidency on the British betting market, Betfair, gapped up to over 80%. Okay, so from a perception, perspective, the market is seeing that, and you have to remember too. After all three of the debates, the market was higher because Hillary was perceived to be the winner. Okay, so I do think that we'll get a rally today. We already see it in the futures. But you're right, Dennis. We don't know what's going to happen when the curtain closes and somebody goes, "Oh, what am I really going to do now? Ooh, am I going to, So I think we really won't know until probably sometime tomorrow night as to what's going to happen. And while we prepare, what is it? While we expect for what we think will happen, we always prepare for the worst. And in this case, if Hillary does win, well, to some extent, it's more of the same, right? She's going to follow a number of, the Obama policies. She might tweak them here and there, which means, the minimum wage is going higher. Okay, we know that healthcare is going to get tweaked a little bit, and that's probably going to be good for healthcare stocks because there's been, over the last 2 weeks with the Trump resurgence, healthcare stocks have gotten a beating, and, because we don't know what's going to happen. Will Obamacare be there? Will it not? What will happen? Who knows? So that's kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen. So, enjoy today because, Wednesday morning, we'll really know what's happening.
And in the chat here, people have said, asking about individual things that Dennis and I are looking at or things are doing. I mean, it's really hard to make, decisions based on, an FBI investigation that, changes course on a Sunday night. And, to me, this is like one of the biggest political statements I've seen the market make in a long time, observing the markets through several different elections and stuff. What about you? What's your response to that? To see, the S&Ps looking like they're falling into the abyss on Friday on the close, and then having this dramatic turnaround on Sunday night.
Yeah, well, I mean, it goes back to the notion that the market does not like uncertainty. And, if we look at, what we had, during last week, yeah, there was earnings and stuff like that, but it was clearly the uncertainty of what was going to happen in the election being totally amped up following the release, the FBI comments on those emails. So I think that was it. But remember too, though, we've got S&P looking at Italy later this week, right? There's renewed talk about what the Brexit's going to mean. So there is still a fair amount of uncertainty out there. And I think that over the weekend, the FBI coming out saying, "Oh no, we've examined all 650,000 emails." Right? After doing that, when it took them forever to scan 30,000 emails, I don't know how they did that, but
algorithms.
But yeah. But the issue there is that sigh of relief, okay, at least for now, because the market's thinking, okay, odds are Hillary's going to win. We know all about her. We have a pretty good idea what her policies are going to be. And she's not going to go off and, incite a trade war with Mexico or Asia or anything like that. She's a career politician. So, from the market's perspective, it's more of the same, which means, maybe not 100% certainty, but far more than what would happen if Trump were to win come Wednesday morning.
Let's just play scenario analysis here, and it doesn't look likely that Trump is going to win. What if Trump does win? What do you want to own if Trump wins? So let's say you're gung ho and you think Trump is going to win. What are you buying ahead of the election if you think Trump is going to win?
Right. So if you think about that, you are going to avoid healthcare stocks first of all because you have no idea what the guy's healthcare reform is going to be. The one thing that he's been consistent on has been rebuilding the military and defense. So you're immediately going to gravitate towards companies like Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics, those types of names. You might want to consider his comments too about loving the police. That is probably going to be a good thing for gun stocks because again, I doubt he's going to be so gun control-ish like Hillary is. So you're going to want to gravitate towards Smith & Wesson, Ruger, possibly even Taser. He's also talking about rolling back regulations, financial regulations in particular. So, we might see some pop inside of those financial stocks, the investment banks, that sort of thing. But the one thing that makes me a little uncertain about that is, given he's likely to be, or could be, I should say, a bull in a china shop, you have to now start wondering, what will the Fed do come December? Particularly after Friday's less than expected employment report. If Trump wins, I think there's an argument to be made that the Fed holds off. So I think that. No, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding on that. And
it's crazy when you think like they say they're not, they're data dependent. But now, and I agree with you, Chris. I think if Trump gets in there, whoa, we can't raise interest rates now.
Well, we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, because it's a whole new wild card that gets interjected into that, if you want to call it equation dynamic. So, if they hold off, the expectation right now is that the Fed is going to raise rates, and that's probably going to prop up some financial stocks, or has been helping prop up financial stocks. So, if he wins, I think in the short term, there's a chance that those financials trade off on what we just talked about, which could be a buying opportunity if indeed he does start to roll back regulation.
All right, so let's talk about a scenario that absolutely no one in the United States wants to happen, and that is if
nobody gets 270 and we're in limbo for a few days.
Yes,
it could very well happen. It's happened before, and I think what's going to happen on that is we'll probably get a little. If we assume that the market rally today just carries into tomorrow. Right, just on the market expectation that Hillary's going to win, and then we get that. I do think we see the market sell off and then trade sideways until we get some answer, and then we'll find out. If it's Hillary, then I think it bounces back a little bit. If it's Trump, then we could probably see a little more weakness in the market.
What about Trump-proof and Clinton-proof stocks? You got any of those?
Of course I do. Come on. I'll rattle off three to you, okay? Because I think that the market pullback has given some great opportunities in this first one, which is one I know you guys talk about. I know you love. I love it too. I use all of its services, and in fact, I just got a new one delivered to my house the other day, Amazon Fresh, which means, of course, Amazon. We're heading into the holiday season. Every data point that I look at Just talks about the acceleration in the shift of commerce from brick and mortar towards not just online, but increasingly mobile. And, Amazon kind of got hit a little bit when people realized that they ramped up investment in the third quarter to really address this surge that's going to happen. And I say surge because there's a new report out from Deloitte that sees digital commerce this holiday shopping season being on par with brick and mortar. And that's the first time ever. Okay, first time ever. So I think it's going to be a huge push. I think Amazon is a natural winner. If you guys were to say, well, okay, connect the dots, Chris. We know you like to do that. Who benefits from that? Well, the logical conclusion is going to be, of course, United Parcel Service or UPS. And we can go back and forth on Amazon's own logistical efforts, and I'll have to tell you you're wrong. It's more of a big picture for Amazon that United Parcel Service will probably be around for several years, delivering on their hub and spoke network, and they'll be fine, and they'll see that business continue to grow as Amazon continues to take share. And then the third one, I'll go 3 and 4 because someone in the chat room asked a question, so I want to address that too. The third one is Dycom, DY, which is a specialty contractor. It's not, commercial construction as we know it. They are really tied in with AT&T, Verizon, Comcast, and CenturyTel. And if you think of what's going on in this increasing shift towards a digital lifestyle where nobody can put down their smartphone, you look at me, I'm looking at my MacBook here, I got my iPad to the left of me, and I'm talking to you through my iPhone. Okay, as we look at all that and everything else from digital correspondence, online shopping or digital shopping, to social media growth, the increasing consumption of video, whether it's eventually through Hulu's new TV streaming service or through Amazon Prime, Netflix, or even the much talked about, we'll have to see what it looks like, AT&T Direct Now when it comes out later this month. It all points towards bottlenecking networks and the need for carriers to launch 5G, as well as cable operators to increase gigabit fiber to the home. And Dycom has the customer base, and this is the work that they do, building these networks. So I think that's a great play all the way through 2017, 2018. And the opportunity here is Google Fiber has said that they've hit the pause button. Google Fiber is probably about a 5 to 6% customer. And if you look at when the rumblings came out about this in August until Friday's close or whatever, the stock is down. Stock has started to recover a little bit. I think as people digested the impact of what Google Fiber really is to their business. I just think that's a great name. And then in the chat room, somebody was talking about Whole Foods. I think I'm getting out, and I like Whole Foods. I shop there, but to me, that is what I call a gun stock, and by that I mean it's a point location. I would rather be buying the bullet or the products that go into it. To me, that is United Natural Foods, UNFI, and they serve Wegmans, Kroger's, Whole Foods, pretty much anybody who is stocking the shelves with more natural, organic, gluten-free, paleo, and all these other alternative lifestyle products. And the great thing is that they have been expanding their footprint with some of their acquisitions around the ring of the store, which is exactly what you want to see.
Oh, that was a great answer. Just one quick question here, because we never talk technicals with you or anything here. Do you pay attention much? I mean, because this Dycom here, if you would have told me that a couple weeks ago, and here it comes down, it fills an earnings gap from May. I mean, it just picture perfect. I know you really concentrate on the fundamentals, but do you have a favorite technical formation or any kind of technicals you look at?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be lying if I said I didn't keep tabs on them. It's not going to be anything that's going to, blow your panties off or anything like that, Joel. It's going to be, the Bollinger Bands. It's going to be the MACD. It's going to be the RSI. The basics.
All right, Chris Versace, Portfolio Manager of the Thematic Growth Portfolio. Great information, Chris. I'm going to be dialing you up again soon. Thanks a lot.
You got it, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. That was great.
All right, a lot of comments there from Mr. Versace.
Yeah.
Dennis, we're just hanging here, and it's like one of these days where, you don't want to start out Monday morning in the hole here, and you feel like the market's begging you to short it here, but Man, oh man, what do you use it for your trigger off the open?
Well, it's tough here because there is no volatility here today. I mean, we like repriced overnight here, boom, rally 25, 27 handles, and we're sitting there and
Oh,
just sitting here for like 5 hours, for
longer.
the last 5, 6, or longer, like 12 hours since we opened last night. We've just sat here. Like, look at that chart of the S&P futures overnight. It is, usually you'd say if you have a 27-point rally, we're going to chop around, we're going to bounce around. We rallied, we repriced, and we are just sitting here now. So I don't know if this is like a huge battle between the bulls and the bears. If nobody's trading, I'm not sure the whole reasoning here that we're not a little bit more choppy after this rally here, but it doesn't look like it wants to give anything back, at least not yet. So I'm kind of torn here. Part of me, if you were to say to me on Friday that we were going to rally 27 points because the FBI was going to drop their investigation, I wouldn't be surprised if we rallied 27. But I would also, I would have been surprised that we just, would be choppy at all, and we're sitting up here and nobody's looking at taking profits here, or at least, booking, or taking some money off the table. So it's hard to buy up here just because of all the uncertainty that we're going to have tomorrow night. But I don't know. They're not coming in here selling. I thought they would have by now.
And I brought up the opposite scenario. You're saying, what about all the people that wanted to sell and wanted to get out, ahead of the election? This is a great pop. Well, what about all the people that didn't buy over the last 9 trading sessions and
Might be scared.
Oh my
They
God.
might be, yeah.
Yeah, it's
We've
like,
been down for 9 straight trading sessions here, which is like the first time in I don't know how long.
since like
But
1936.
do you know how
or
long?
something. What did they
I
say?
saw the stack go by, but
It's like
I
a
could go try
long
to find it. A long time. First
financial
time.
crisis.
9 times in a row. I mean, 9 days.
Like
Remember, Peter?
19.
9 days.
Oh gosh.
9 times we've been
80.
down here in a row, S&P. And now all of a sudden we get this huge 27-point rally here. I would think some people would take some chips off the table, but they haven't yet, which scares me about shorting this market.
All right, couple stocks here. Well, Elizabeth D is talking about the S&P here, and I think Elizabeth, I was looking at the numbers here. I had to actually redo them from my when I did them Sunday at 12 o'clock, not knowing what was going to take place. Above that pre-market high at 21.12, there's nothing up there to your 5 and 6 day highs at 21.30. But man, oh man, I just can't see us rallying another 14, 16 handles past the pre-market high. But hey, I've been wrong before. On the downside here, that pre-market low to me, 2102.75. I think if you can get under that, you have a gap to fill the Friday's high. But I'd let them battle it out here between 2102.75 and 2112. A lot of air on each side of those levels. Coming, Dennis, did you want to make a comment on that?
Well, you keep with your levels, and I got a question for you on the S&Ps too.
Okay. No, I was going to go into VMC.
Yeah, I don't want you to change subject. 'Cause where were we? So we had 9 straight trading sessions that we've been down. Where were we when we started this 9-day sell-off? Because even though it sounds horrible, you're down for
It
9
was
straight
not
days.
that bad.
But none of the days have been big. None of the days were really huge down days. Like, how much of that loss are we getting back here in one day? Where were we 9 days ago when we started this 9-day sell-off?
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We were at 2138. That was the.
So here we are. We get it all back in almost one day.
And
Or
I don't.
2109. 2109. So we're getting over half of it back
Yeah, yeah.
in one day.
And they talked
After-
about the big losing streak, and I'm like, I feel like, wow, when there's big losing streaks, they usually do pretty well. And like, it was like a grinder. And actually, the S&Ps had a couple flat days in there. So I mean, they're making it like just the media again. Oh, 9 straight down days, man. I tell you, I've seen more damage in an open than we've seen in the last, 9 trading.
Yeah,
days.
it doesn't feel like we've been down for 9 straight days. It doesn't feel like, oh, the world is caving in here. So, and now one day you're getting half those losses back. So shows you how obviously, there were a lot of smaller losses in there. Get up that 2138, 2150 level where we were. That's another 20 points higher. I mean, if for whatever reason, I think that's, maybe your resistance point. And, Ace was making a point earlier in the chat here too. I mean, if we continue to rally here and we rally ahead of this election, you start to analyze, well, can it even go higher if Hillary wins, or is it already all priced in? But that's for tomorrow's discussion. We'll see what happens today. If this rally holds, though, and we actually, hold and rally again tomorrow, then I start thinking about the scenario where I don't think I want to be long in the market no matter what. Just because if you rallied, I mean, Brexit was the same setup. We were way up on Brexit, and then Brexit actually happened, and then we got murdered there. So it's funny, I'm just having, a little bit of deja vu here with the Brexit and everything, but I don't think Trump is getting in. But there's a lot of, really scary scenarios here still as a possibility. So let's see if this rally can hold here today. Let's see what happens tomorrow. But I tell you, if we're up tomorrow again, I might even try shorting into this election. I wouldn't think I would do that.
Can I ask about First Solar? We got a question from our YouTube chat about from First Solar. You guys into that?
It's just been annihilated in the last 2 days, and I haven't been following it very closely. But I tell you, this is always, one of the best of breeds in the solar companies there. But there has just been no place to hide in this sector. I mean, and this is one I think, especially if Trump gets in, I think it's in a whole world of hurt. Maybe if Hillary gets in, but I mean, this company's hurting right now.
I just have a hard time here until you at least get some stability.
Yeah.
You're getting, yeah. I mean, if you want to, we always talk about risk reward here, and if you've been waiting to, to add this to your portfolio, you're waiting for a pullback, sure. Maybe give yourself a couple points even beyond the low of the move. You had the low of the move come yesterday. You had a low the day of earnings, and then you made another low. You are getting a bounce, 32.41. Let's see, getting a little pop. Let's see if you could just hold in the 33 handle. We're trading up a little bit at 33.30. That took out the former low of the move, so that is a tough one. Someone asked about Solar City too. If you're traded Solar City, you just got to watch your Tesla. I mean, that's what's going to be moving that stock.
That's a Tesla tracking stock right now until, either if the deal stops, if that deal doesn't go through, I think Solar City gets annihilated. It does appear like it probably maybe is going to go through here. At least that's where the market is thinking here. So that's just right now a Tesla tracking stock.
Okay, Vulcan Metals, VMC here, trading right near the 117 level. I tell you, just looking at this, a real quick look, I would just love to see this. If I was long, clear 120 here. You had one high right close to that, two others just above it. For me, the longer it takes to get up to 120, over 120, more I'd be maybe to take a few chips off the table. All right, S&Ps have moved a grand total of 1.5 during our entire show. This is despite being up 29.50, but Spencer, give us a preview of...
Just before you go, I want to make a point here. I get this all the time, especially, people, a trader, and I like multiple people who aren't in, the markets there, and they'll say, man, you must have had a really good day. On Monday there with the market being up as much as it is. But as a trader, I mean, we never even had an opportunity here today. I mean, you had to be long overnight on Friday to be really having a good day here. Like, people naturally think that the market's up 300 Dow points, and you're like, oh, you must have had a really good day. And I usually explain that I actually make money. My better days are on the short side than the long side. But that being said, there was no opportunity to make money here unless you were long over the weekend. We've already rallied everything.
And you know what? The way that close looked on Friday, I was leaning the other way. We were so...
Oh, yeah. I think there's a lot of people leaning the other way.
Yeah, look at this. I mean, that's another thing that caught the market here. We went from the highs to the lows, and then now we're back up here. So just keep an eye on your 15-minute chart, folks. See if we can get above that pre-market high or pre-market low. Now it's 8:58. We're going to go to Spencer.
And before I forget, if you're interested in Herbalife at all, or you're in that issue, John Oliver, if you don't watch his show, if you don't go to HBO, 32-minute segment last night about multi-level marketing. A significant part of that was devoted to HLF. So you may want to check that out if you're interested. It's uploaded for free on YouTube. A 32-minute segment about HLF and multi-level marketing. If you missed any part of our show today, you can catch our podcast. It's actually recorded on YouTube Live right now and available immediately after the show. I will also edit the show slightly and put that on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Stitcher. So check that out on those platforms. Tomorrow's show, we got a couple guests for you. Nick Shaheen, he's on every Tuesday, of course, and then Juan Mendoza is the founder and CEO of a company called Peep Trade. They're basically like a it's like a social network for portfolios. You can post your portfolio, you can view other people's trades, you can post your trades and kind of check it out there. So I'm pumped to talk to Juan because I like his company. So that's on tap for tomorrow. Quick reminder to check out Benzinga Pro. You can get it for free for 2 weeks. Just go to pro.benzinga.com or call us up at 313-723-2000. And please always remember that all the information, material, and content from our show is for informational purposes only and not meant to be investing advice. So 9 o'clock now, we're going to let you go. Have a good rest of your trading day and a good rest of pre-market and a good rest of your trading day, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Whether you're a short-term swing trader or a long-term investor, you need to check out Thinkorswim, brought to you by TD Ameritrade. There's a reason why Thinkorswim has been named the #1 trading platform, because it has it all. With Thinkorswim, you can trade stocks, options, futures, forex, and virtually every other type of order. Get notifications on mobile devices and interact with other traders in chat rooms. You can also use technical indicators and see the latest investing and trading education in Think Money magazine. If you want to keep up with the markets, you need Thinkorswim. To experience everything Thinkorswim has to offer, open a TD Ameritrade account today. Thinkorswim, the online trading platform for traders and investors. TD Ameritrade, member SIPC. All investing involves risks.